You're listening to Three Kitchens podcast, hosted by home cooks Erin Walker and Heather Dyer.
Join us as we walk you through our experience with a new recipe, successes and fails. Let's all get inspired, cook better, and eat great food. I am going to attempt a fermentation recipe. I am going to make a ginger bug. This is highly edited content. The stuff that regularly comes out of her mouth is garbage.
We must be edited in everything we say every day of our lives.
Yeah, exactly. And if you're wondering who those edited voices are, my name's Erin. Joining me is Heather. Hi, Heather.
Hello there.
And we are Three Kitchens podcast, and we have a recipe for you. Surprise, surprise.
The best kind of episodes. Well, no, guests are also fun, but I always like these when it's just us gabbing about recipes.
Yeah, I know. We've gotten into a good little groove, right?
Yeah.
All right. I am going to finally, after all of the years we have talked about it, I am going to attempt a fermentation recipe.
Oh, okay.
I am going to make, or attempt to make anyway, a ginger bug is what it's called. So this ginger bug can then be used to make a ginger beer soda or a ginger ale soda, which I love having in my life because I generally don't drink any alcoholic beverages. When I go out or I get myself something for a treat, I usually get myself some ginger beer.
Yeah,
and it started popping up on my Instagram feed that I could be making this ginger bug at home, and that through the process of making this ginger bug, I should be able to make my own carbonated drink using this fermented ginger.
Yes.
Apparently.
I have heard of it. I'm acting all like, oh yeah, ginger bug. Like I know so much about it. I don't.
Okay. I was like, Heather knows a lot about this. I can tell. She's just going to jump right in and
I'm nodding and I'm like,
educate me.
oh, yes. No, I don't. I just have heard of it and I've been tempted to try it at different times. And I know we've talked about it in the past, but I've never attempted it or looked really into it. So I'm super excited for this.
Yeah. So the first thing that is going to take some time, because I think we both know that fermentation is sort of a, is it going to work process? I don't know. It seems kind of like kitchen witchery. It seems a little bit magic. You put these things together in a jar and suddenly you've got this fermented thing that you can eat or use, or I don't know. The magic happens in that jar. So it's going to take, it says, 3 to 4 days to ferment.
That's actually faster than some things.
Which is pretty quick, but I'm not expecting to be successful the first time just because, you know, I'm always anxious about fermenting.
This reminds me of like when we made sourdough bread and my sourdough starter was a complete non-starter. Like it didn't even get... It
was the sourdough non-starter.
Yeah, it was just the big, and I think I tried it twice and failed both times. Like, I don't know why, but I just completely bombed the starter. So I hope you don't have to do it twice, but you might.
I hope not. But my goal is to make 2 of them so that you can have a bug of your own. But then after I have made my ginger bug, I'm then going to make the syrup that I'm going to use to make my ginger beer. So it's kind of a 2-step process. It might take me some time to get my ducks in a row to get it right. But everybody that I'm seeing online is making it look really easy.
They have a way of doing that, Erin.
I know.
Magic of editing, or
yeah,
maybe they've actually done it like so many times. They just make it look like, oh, I'm going to give this a try. Oh, it worked so great.
No,
and really they've been doing it for 20 years and they just didn't tell you.
Yeah. So I'm going to go down this path. I have never experimented this side of things at all. The only things I have successfully fermented were my sourdough starter was a starter. I'm on what, Joe the Third now or something? So
It needs a new name. It needs a new name.
Heather
I've
doesn't
heard
like
some
my
really good ones. Now, of
oh,
course, I can't think of them, but I've heard
oh, wah,
some
wah.
great ones. Yeah.
So my sourdough was a go.
Mhm.
I've tried some cabbage before, but I've never been like really happy with it. And maybe it's just because I'm so used to what I get in the store that the real deal it takes some time to figure out. I'm
Yeah,
not
and I think that
sure.
can sometimes happen, right? It's like
Yeah.
because we're used to a processed product,
Yeah.
when you make it yourself and it tastes different, it probably actually tastes the way it's supposed to, but we're not used to it, and so it's an adjustment.
Yeah. Yeah. So that I've never felt 100% about that. And then do our salted lemons? I mean, it's a preserve, but I don't know if it's really
I don't think it
fermenting.
ferments, but what about a shrub?
Oh,
Does that
okay.
ferment?
I think
Does it?
so.
Okay. I don't
I'm
know
going to
if I
say yes.
exactly know the definition of fermentation.
Yeah, okay. So, since you bring that up, why don't we bring up the Wikipedia page that I looked at to be like, what is fermentation? In food processing specifically, fermentation is the conversion of carbohydrates to alcohol or organic acids using microorganisms.
Okay, so in that definition, I don't think a shrub counts,
So, maybe not, although
right?
there's sugars in there that are getting altered.
Mhm.
Ooh,
So good. I need to make one.
and so, fun nerd word of the episode is the science of fermentation is known as zymology.
Zymology. Mm.
So, come figure out this zymological process with
Oh,
us.
good.
Ooh.
Good use of the word. Um, am I able to ask at this point why it's called a bug? Do you know that?
I'm going to guess that it's called a bug because I don't know for sure, but because it's like your starter, because it's your living organism.
It's like the base.
It's the thing that you're keeping alive in order to make a product with it.
Okay.
So from what I understand, once you make your ginger bug, it is much like a sourdough starter in that we're going to be feeding it sugar and ginger periodically throughout time to keep it alive once we've got it going. And then when I go to make this ginger beer, I'm using a very little amount of this bug in there. And so you can go further, like you can use it to kind of grow your next culture. Yeah.
Mm.
Does that sound like a good enough reason?
Sure. Yeah. I
I'm
mean,
going
that's
to
kind
go
of
with
what I was
that.
thinking. I just didn't know if there was another reason why it was called a bug. I kind of thought of the living because it's a
Mm,
living thing and it's kind of
yeah.
a cute name, even though you don't want to think of an insect. So, like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Cool.
Something like that, maybe.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, this sounds exciting. I love ginger beer. Spicier, the better. Hey, listener, have you visited our website? You'll find our entire catalog of episodes. Can you believe there are more than 170 of them, including the Speakeasy Cocktail series and almost all of our recipes?
It's easy to find. Just type in www.threekitchenspodcast.com or check the show notes for a link. Now, let's get back to the show. Well, we're going to talk about how to make a ginger bug and then how to use that to make some ginger beer.
Bug. Every
Bug.
time we say bug, it's just so weird.
So, all of the process of doing this was fairly simple, pretty easy to do. It just took some patience and faith. Before I started any of this, because we are making a live culture, we want to use water that doesn't have chlorine. We want unchlorinated water. So, what I did to remove chlorine from the water was just ran my tap and filled up a jug and just left it uncovered on my counter overnight so that when I was ready to go make my ginger bug, I had this ready to go. So, they say you can use filtered water for this. I'm not going to go out and buy filtered water. You can just do this at home. It's a step that's going to save you money. It takes a little bit of time, but easy. And then you want to use filtered water all the way, or this dechlorinated water all the way through this so that you don't go and kill that nice little bacterial culture you have created that you want to work with. All right. So now when you start making your ginger bug, which is kind of your, think of it like your starter you would in sourdough bread, you want to take equal amounts of ginger, sugar, and water and combine them. So wash your ginger, keep the skin on, chop it up like fairly fine, but just, nothing special or fancy. And I just kind of eyeballed this in my jar. I was like, okay, so here's about half a cup of ginger. So I added in half a cup of sugar. And then I just topped it up with the filtered water. That's your bug. That's all you're doing to it. So again, this is a living thing, so you don't want to put it in a sealed jar, or else you're going to end up with probably something you don't want if you're not giving it oxygen to live on. So
Okay.
a piece of paper towel on top of your jar, and then like the screw top will just keep it sealed so you don't get dust or crumbs or whatever falling in there and contaminating your bug. And then I just popped it in my pantry in the dark and waited and waited.
So what makes ginger, like what I'm trying to figure out.
Why ginger?
Yeah, yeah.
The right bacteria that we want to do this just happens to live on the skin and happily with the ginger because it's a root. It's creating the right environment for this type of bacteria to grow in.
It's kitchen witchery.
It's kitchen witchery, yes.
Let's just call it magic. I'm happy with it just to be magic. I don't need more, I guess.
The process was every day I was supposed to, and I did, feed my brand new starter 1 tablespoon of fresh chopped up ginger and 1 tablespoon of sugar. So to start it out, I was feeding it 3 days in a row. Once you've done that 3 days of feeding, sit back and wait for the magic to happen.
Just wait and see what happens because you were like, I don't know if anything's happening. It'd be like a couple days and I get a text. Not sure if something's
Not
going on in there or not.
not much happening. Still not much to report. Oh shit, I think this is a failure. I'm not getting what I expect. It said like within 5 days you should have this ginger bug ready to go. But considering the things that we know about our kitchens, we live in this nice cold climate. Our kitchens tend to be a pretty cool place in our houses. And, maybe that doesn't give you the best culture speed. So this took just over a week. I'm going to say it was between 7 and 10 days before I noticed that my ginger, which was kind of floating up on top in my jar, had little bubbles dispersed all through it. All of a sudden, there were all these little bubbles. And I was like, oh, that's a good sign. Because what I want
Things
to
good.
happen is I want these little bacterias to go and start eating the sugar and producing the CO2 gas. I want to build up a really rich culture of bacteria. And my liquid in my jar became a lot cloudier and kind of like darker colored. So I was like, okay, the signs are there. Things are starting to happen. So then I had to go and make the ingredients for our ginger beer. I was like, all right, I'm ready to go. I've got my culture. So the suggestion was to make a simple syrup that had ginger in it, let it boil for a while to extract all that gingery flavor. Strain it. You put your syrup, you put your bug, or you put your syrup, you put an amount of your bug in there, and then you top it up with filtered water again. And then by the next morning, I've got ginger beer. So when I did this and made this for you, my simple syrup that I made with my ginger, so it was half a cup of sugar, half a cup of water, and then I'm going to say maybe half a cup of ginger that I had like cut up and roughly chopped up, just like I did for the bug that I made. I popped that on a saucepan and I let it boil for 30 minutes. I put in, so the half a cup of simple syrup, once it cooled down, I put it into my bottle. I decided to add half a cup of ginger bug that I had strained so that the little pieces of ginger and whatnot didn't go into my drink, so I didn't have to chew on that. And then just topped it up with water. It wasn't super gingery. I was somewhat disappointed because it wasn't like the smack in the face ginger beer that I want. And so I was like, next time I do this, I'm going to town with the ginger.
Ooh.
So I got my bottle back from you. It's got one of those tops that you can pop off. So I'll actually bring it in here and gas it this morning for all of us in a second. But so last night I did the same sort of simple syrup with half a cup of water, half a cup of sugar. And then I took a hunk of ginger root, a really good sized one, and I grated it on my box grater because it really like grates the ginger and really like bursts the cell walls and like gets all that juice out. And I popped it in the pot and I boiled it for 30 minutes again. And then I let it cool down. Oh my God, is this ginger beer ever spicy this time? It's perfect. I'm so happy with it. It's way stronger. So I think it's just perfecting the level of ginger that you want in there with the amount of sugar, finding out how that extracts best. And then, like, I have a really happy active ginger bug, it seems right now. So maybe I don't need the full half a cup of ginger bug to go in there. Again, some of the people that I was following on this, they were just like, oh, here's some syrup. Oh, here's some bug. Oh, fill it up with water. And I was like, whoa, there are no measurements here. So I tried to give what I thought were the measurements that they were going with. And that's where I landed. But I'm sure I can adjust those around and make it a little bit different.
Mm-hmm.
But now
Yeah.
I have fermentation fun in my house.
And you gave me the ginger bug as well, so I can try making
Yes.
it too. I can't wait. I've been waiting for these instructions for the ginger beer.
Oh.
Because I want to do that. So I felt the same way about the initial ginger beer that you gave
Yeah.
me. It was tasty, but not like ginger beer. It was more like a ginger beer's paler, shy cousin, like a little sad cousin in the corner.
I was like,
Um,
there's some flavor of ginger in there, but we like a smack you in the face ginger beer.
mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it was still tasty. And I actually used a little bit of it to mix up a cocktail that I found in the cocktail book Beautiful Booze by Natalie Migliorini, who was our guest on the podcast a while back, 3 years ago, I want to say.
A while ago.
Yeah, a while ago. And I found a few recipes for drinks in her book using ginger beer. So I'm going to try them. I'm going to try more when I make some. This one had vodka, lime juice, blueberry syrup, and ginger beer. And it was very tasty. And it's a beautiful, bright pink color because of the blueberry syrup, which is like purple.
That. Yeah.
Was really good. And the ginger beer, it's like you mix up your drink, you put it over ice, and then you pour your ginger beer on top. So your first sip, you get hit with the ginger, and it's just a great like combination. Highly recommend. And I just liked it on its own, even though I knew it wasn't quite spicy enough, but I still thought it was really tasty. It wasn't overly fizzy.
I would say it's going to keep carbonating because they say you gotta burp it, which sounds gross. So I say you gotta pop it. So you want to pop it every day, or the amount of CO2 that builds up in there, like, it's incredible. I'm popping mine like twice a day because I'm slightly terrified of it. Okay, I have to run and grab. Okay, let's hope this doesn't like explode all over the computer when I do this, right? Oh God, I'm terrified every time I do this. I kind of love this.
Totally. Yeah, that was a big pop.
Yeah. So cool stuff. I now really love that I'm playing with it, and it's this whole new fun thing. And I felt like it almost tasted slightly alcoholic when I was drinking it. I was like, this almost tastes like it has like an alcoholic flavor to it. Am I making alcohol? And apparently, depending on how long your little bug sits and how much sugar you've got in there and blah, 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 I guess it can make anywhere between 1% to 2% alcohol in your overall pop.
Oh.
So it will make a bit of an alcohol while it's fermenting. And I couldn't really find any good explanations as to how you would test that. I think you can get like test strips to test to see if you've got, but they said like you should never be worried about it becoming too alcoholic. But I thought that was kind of because
I didn't get that flavor off it, but Hang on. This dog, it's not really conducive to podcasting having a dog in your lap.
Yeah. And so I did a little bit of research into, because this kind of goes along the line of like this healthy gut bacteria type of thing. If you're going to be making your own carbonated drinks like this or doing your fermentation stuff. And I kind of went down a very interesting rabbit hole. I stumbled across some articles that were talking about your appendix and the importance it plays in gut health, and how our view of it as this not vegetable, vestigial organ, or
I don't know what
like
that means.
it it means like this left behind thing that hasn't been
Oh,
removed from
with no
our
purpose.
bodies, no
Right. Okay.
purpose kind of.
Okay.
So I guess our understanding of that isn't as thorough as we may have thought. And so there is some research that I came across talking about how that actually might be the area where our gut bacteria and the population of that and like the diversity of that is really important in our digestion and our overall body health. And so they were comparing people who had had their appendix removed with people who hadn't and what their gut health was like. And so people without the appendix were a lot more prone to having Crohn's disease and other GI tract issues that had to do with their gut bacteria. And the thing that I found really interesting is that appendix lives where your small intestine meets your large intestine. So it's right where new bacteria get introduced into your digestive tract. So it's really interesting that this maybe plays a role in like maintaining your gut health. And sort of people who eat more fermented foods have a more diverse and rich gut health. And apparently their appendix functions better because I guess it does have a function.
Wow. That's interesting. Hmm.
Yeah.
I have my appendix, so maybe it's doing me some good. Well, this has been a very interesting episode. Well, this is fun. I'm glad you tried it because I'd been hearing about ginger bugs for years and didn't
Yes.
really know. I didn't really know what you do with it after. And that's why I had asked you the other day, can you do anything else with it besides make ginger beer? And you're like, I don't know. So I guess that's further research for everyone to do once you've got yourself a bug.
Yeah.
And go see if there's anything else you can do with it. I bet in a certain dose you could take that. You could just take the bug as part of your gut health routine. I would think in a certain amount of it, depending
Yeah,
on your
maybe.
situation. But why not make the beer? The ginger beer is so tasty.
And honestly, like it just, you know how when you don't feel good, I don't know if this is in your house, but like the first thing my kids or I want if my stomach's off is ginger ale.
Yeah.
Or something with ginger in it, right? Like it's something that I gravitate to when I don't feel good. So now like having a little bit of this after dinner every night just feels good. I don't know. Is that the little aperitivo? Nightcap? It's my nightcap.
Nightcap. I don't know I think a nightcap's just supposed to help you sleep. I think it's a digestive.
There we go. Yeah.
Love it. Love it. She's having some right now, you guys.
Gonna have
She's
a little
drinking ginger beer.
But yeah, this one's way more gingery. It's much better.
I can't wait to make some.
Fermenting is freaking nerve-wracking. And man, it is so hard to be patient when you ferment anything, I tell ya.
And now for the fine print. For links to recipes and many other random things we talked about in this episode, check out the show notes or our website, www.threekitchenspodcast.com. Join us on Instagram, Facebook, Threads, YouTube, and TikTok to see what we're cooking up next. And if you love the show, tell a friend. Word of mouth is the #1 way people learn about new podcasts. Thanks for listening. My husband was like, "What's in this jar over here?" And I'm like, "It's a bug." He's like, "What?"
My husband mistrusts any jars in the fridge on the counter.
Yeah. Something's fermenting.